The price of Bitcoin. WTF is happening right now with Bitcoin? What are the indicators to look at? What are the market moving events that are coming up? There's a lot of market moving events, potentially both good and bad, coming up. Whether we want to talk about what happens if Grayscale wins their case, what happens if BlackRock gets their Bitcoin ETF, what happens with a lot of situations. We want to take a look at the charts here and some of the more fundamental things that are affecting the price of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin markets right now. And it's been a pretty crazy year overall. We've seen the price of Bitcoin rallying up this year, going absolutely crazy. Markets got very excited for a short amount of time, and then things started going sideways again. Things started going wrong. What happened? What happened? The new paradigm of money was supposed to be here with BlackRock, man, and then things unwind. But that's markets. That's markets. That is what happens so frequently. We see hype build, price move, and then it takes a while for things to actually play out the way we want them to. So let's take a look at the chart here, talk a little bit about the price of Bitcoin. So very interesting price action recently. This is on the weekly chart here for Bitcoin. We can see that Bitcoin has, for the moment, still a lot of stuff that could go on here. But for the moment, we can see that the price of Bitcoin has bounced at a very key line of price support. And that key line of price support, of course, is right around $26,000. You could argue it goes down a little bit lower. But very interesting to see the current price action really all the way down to $25,000, I think really validates this current move. So we've seen two candles come down to around $25,000 recently. Of course, we had one back in June, right before the BlackRock news was announced. We had another just last week. And of course, this week we saw a similar move down for the price of Bitcoin. The RSI for Bitcoin, very interestingly, still just kind of middle of the road. Lots of room for that to develop on a weekly time frame to go much, much higher. So it still feels like early days here for the RSI for Bitcoin. What's interesting right now is that I find we are in this strange place for Bitcoin where it's a bit of a battle right now between a double top and a potential double bottom. Now, the double bottom also has the potential, if it breaks down further, to confirm that double top thesis. So the idea here would be that in middle of April, we put in our first top here for Bitcoin around $31,000. Things subsided, price went down, BlackRock news came up and gave us that second top. Price stayed highish for about a month, around $31,000 before, of course, coming back down, making that classic M pattern that you look for in a double top. Right now, we are sitting on the neckline. A further price breakdown from here could see the price potentially move down as low as around $20,000. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, obviously. If we bounce from here, that gives us the potential for this to have actually been forming up as a double bottom, which would be very, very interesting if it plays out. Because we can see we had a bottom right around the same area that we're at right now back in mid-June. So the price came down to around $26,000, currently priced down around $26,000. What we need to see now, though, over the next few weeks is a recovery, a push up, and of course, a break over $31,000, which would become the neckline up to say that this is a valid double bottom pattern. So we're kind of stuck in a weird area right now for the price of Bitcoin, but that's where we've been for so many months. And the BlackRock news did get everyone excited, but it hasn't really moved the needle much in terms of really breaking us out of this wider range that we've been in for a much longer time frame. Realistically, we're still just in the price range that we've been in since March, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Lots of sideways action has been playing out here in the markets. It's pretty wild, actually, to see. Let me know what you think. Are we looking at a potential double top scenario with a breakdown to 20K, or could we be forming up for a double bottom scenario with a break higher in the coming weeks? Certainly a lot of macro fears right now, from the rumors of new lockdowns to really all kinds of macro fear. Stock markets are going to go down, bond markets are breaking, all that kind of stuff. It's weighing very heavily on markets, and Bitcoin's not immune to this kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind. Right. So interestingly, on the daily RSI here for Bitcoin, I want to point this out. Bitcoin currently, at the time of recording, we're still holding that $26,000 line, but the RSI is still pretty heavily oversold for Bitcoin on the daily charts. Now, I want to point out historical performance does not indicate future results, obviously. But historically, when we've seen Bitcoin reaching these kinds of oversold readings on the daily charts, has been a good time to buy. I bought some Bitcoin yesterday, but I buy Bitcoin basically every week. So, it's not anything particularly special, to be honest, but I do buy Bitcoin on a regular basis. But I felt good buying Bitcoin yesterday, knowing how oversold the RSI is and knowing that it's likely a better time to be buying than, of course, it was a few weeks ago when it was at 31K. I bought then too because I'm a dollar cost averaging in, but the point is that this is a buying opportunity according to what the charts are telling us. Again, lots of macro fears right now that are keeping people out of the markets. Also, I want to point this out. I thought this is very interesting. So this is a look at the 200-week exponential moving average. Now you can look at the 200-week simple moving average as well. I find over recent time, I tend to prefer the EMA a bit more, but they line up relatively closely. The key point here is that when the price of Bitcoin, if we go right back, when the price of Bitcoin either trades below or around the 200-day exponential moving average, has historically been a good time to buy Bitcoin. Now, that was true back in 2014 and into 2015, where the price hovered basically for quite a while, right around the 200-week EMA before, of course, the massive rally took off, and you had quite a big chance there to buy Bitcoin for around $200 to $300 for almost a year before, of course, the price took off to $20,000. You could look again here at 2018, 2019. You had ample opportunities here to buy Bitcoin under $4,000. Quite a while, actually. You had from November 18 until April 19. And then, of course, the price went up to about $14,000 in 2019. And then later on up to $65,000, $69,000 as the bull market peak came in. So you had the chance to buy under $4,000 for a while. Buying under the 200-week EMA was an opportunity. And then, of course, we had the COVID crash, again, sent the price under the 200-week EMA. You had a great chance to buy under $6,000 in that situation. So the question then is, has this recent price action where we saw Bitcoin trading under $25,000 for quite a long time under the 200-week EMA, was that a great buying opportunity? Or is a new global Great Depression coming and Bitcoin's going to $12,000 like we see a lot of voices calling for nowadays, which I don't agree with, by the way. I don't see a $12,000 price in the near future for Bitcoin. Hey, I'm always ready to be surprised, but I don't see it personally. However, right now we are once again retesting the 200-week EMA, which, again, historically has been an opportunity for buying. Will it be this time? We shall see, of course. Now, by the way, before we continue on to the other charts, just a quick note, if you are a cryptocurrency trader, you do have to get yourself an account over at BYBIT. It is the best place to be trading futures, to be doing spot altcoin trading. They have a super popular copy trading service as well. If you use the link down below in the description to start your BYBIT account, you're going to get exclusive fee discounts and exclusive bonuses as well, up to $30,000 in trading and deposit bonuses, depending on how much you deposit and the volume of trading that you do. So if you are a trader, go ahead and check it out. Now, I want to take a look at this chart here. I like this one. This has been shared by Blockchain Backer. He says, I'm all for screaming doom time for Bitcoin should the stock market fall apart. I expect it one day. But screaming for the cliche 12K after every pullback is getting a bit old. Until Bitcoin breaks under 24.7, it's on pace with 2015, which I found very interesting. Basically, if you take the chart of the current price action, overlay it with the price action of 2015, you find some very interesting parallels here where we spend 9 months under resistance, where we have a break above that resistance line, now turns into support. Of course, when that happened in 2015, well, we saw the price make a nice move higher. We haven't had that nice move higher. We're still hanging pretty close to support. But if we have a similar reaction in the markets, and you got to remember why we see patterns playing out similarly in markets, nothing ever exactly repeats, but why we see similarities in markets is because the one factor that never really changes in markets is you and me. And it doesn't matter whether you're just a regular dude, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a hedge fund manager, whether you're a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever, the vast majority of people in the market react approximately the same to market movements. That's why we see technical analysis being relevant. Interesting as well. I want to share this with you. So right now you're feeling this vibe, this sentiment. You're seeing it on your timeline. You're seeing people talk about it. You're seeing the media talk about it. We have a super, super duper mega recession. The new Great Depression is coming. The rapture is here, my friends. The end of all things is coming. Repent now. And yet, the US GDP forecast for the next quarter is coming in at 5.9%. Bears are in disbelief at that kind of number. I really feel like they almost need to push out some new lockdowns or something like that to crash the economy like they've been trying to do with these interest rate hikes. They've been trying. They want so bad for you to lose your job, to shut down your small business, to take your home away from you. It's the stated goal of what Jerome Powell said. There's going to be a little bit of pain. That little bit of pain means a lot of pain for regular people, not for the rich. Don't worry, guys. The rich people in Washington, D.C. and in New York, the bankers and stuff, they're going to be okay. I know you're worried about them, but they're going to be okay. You're screwed, but they'll be okay. It's crazy, though, because you can't really have a recession when you have a GDP forecast of 5.9%. Recession means your economy is going down, not going up by 5.9%. Again, bears in disbelief. It's crazy stuff. But the world is now sitting around waiting for one man to tell us what's going to happen with the money. We're going to tell our kids stories about this, I hope so anyway. Back when I was a young man, we had central bankers and they would sit around and tell us what's going to happen to the money. It's a crazy system, man. Anyway, tomorrow is the Jackson Hole meeting where Jerome Powell is going to come out and give his little speech. And I think the markets are really waiting on a very sort of fine balance around this. Because if he comes out with even a slightly dovish tone, now we're looking at the tone. What's the tone of the Fed chief? What's the words that he's using? Is he being overly hawkish, overly dovish? Just give it to us straight, Jerome. Don't be so fluffy with your language, man. Everyone's going to, of course, dissect every single word that he says. Why did he pause there? Why did he cough there? What happened? Markets are looking for any kind of narrative, good or bad, right now, and the Fed's going to give it to us tomorrow. And there's a lot of worry that because inflation went from 3% to 3.2%, that the Fed's going to have reason to hike rates up once again. More. I mean, we're already expecting another rate hike coming up, but this would be rate hikes higher for longer. That's the worry of the market right now. I want to share this with you. This is a Bitcoin price prediction from Pantera Capital. Pantera, they're definitely highly involved in the crypto space, and of course, they are bulls on the market. They are calling for Bitcoin to $35,000 by the time of the Bitcoin halving, which is not a lot of dramatic price action between now and April of next year. I still think we could see that rally up to 48K. May not happen, but I think it could happen. Then, of course, things cool off. Maybe we get back down to 35K around the time of the Bitcoin halving. Their end price for the bull market, $147,843. I love the specificity of that. I've been looking at 150K. It's my opinion on the matter. But interesting. This, of course, we're looking at diminishing returns from cycle to cycle, right? So first big rally, we had 9,200% returns. Next one, 2,900%. After that, 679%. They're predicting 317% returns from the time of the Bitcoin halving to the time of the market peak at $147,800. I dig it. Feels like a realistic prediction. Let me know what you think. Is that a realistic prediction to see a Bitcoin peak price for the next cycle at 148K? Or is just, all the Bitcoin ETF stuff is just too bullish? We're going to see prices go way higher than that. Let me know your opinion. Also, I want to share this with you because it's some pretty crazy data. The supply of Bitcoin on exchanges has reached a new, recent low. We're at 5.8% of the supply of Bitcoin currently sitting on exchange. Now, last time, very, very interesting. The last time that we saw the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges being this low was December 2017, particularly December 17th, 2017. That's an interesting date because the high price was on December 18th, 2017. So it's very interesting. One day before that market cycle high was the last time the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges was this low. The sentiment right now, it's kind of been pretty bad. People are bored. People are exhausted. Sentiment's kind of in the gutter. We're really in that phase of like the market can remain irrational longer than you could remain solvent, right? But the reality of what's happening continues every single day. We are seeing more and more spot Bitcoin being bought and taken off of exchanges. It happens every single day. And yeah, I know there's some big events outstanding. What's going to happen with Grayscale Bitcoin Trust? What's going to happen with the Mt. Gox Bitcoin? When are the feds going to sell their Bitcoin? I get it. But the reality is that this bear market has been totally unlike previous bear markets. We've seen nonstop buying, whether it be from whales, sharks, fish, shrimp accounts, whatever it might be. Tiny retail buyers have been buying huge amounts of Bitcoin, outstripping the ability of miners to supply them during a bear market, or you can say the earliest stages of a new bull market, which is basically still super bearish vibes, right? Bitcoin is being methodically drained off of exchanges. That number is only continuing to go down. How long until it's 5%? How long until it's 4%? How long until it's 3%, 2%, 1%? And what happens to the price in that situation where the majority, that's already the majority, 70% of Bitcoin is in the hands of long-term holders who have not moved Bitcoin on chain in over a year? Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, man. And I want to share this chart with you here. This just gives you some perspective on how things could play out. Interesting about the psychology of how markets work. This is from at the Scalping Pro over here on X. So he says the chart below shows psychology of the majority of retail investors buying near the top and selling near the bottom. So currently we're at it's a bull trap phase. When Bitcoin is at 15, 16K, a lot of people were saying, I'm not going to buy here. I'm going to buy lower. I know it's at 15K. It's going down to 10. It's going down to 5K. And I heard the same thing in the last bear market. When Bitcoin dropped to 3K, there were so many voices saying, it's going to 1K. It's going to 1K. It didn't go to 1K. 3K was a great buying opportunity. So the mentality goes, oh, I'll buy lower at the lows. It's a bull trap. Prices are going to come back down. I'll get a chance to buy at 12K again. That number is going to come. Then, of course, you see things starting to ramp up. People say, it's still below the all-time high. It's going to go back down. Then the fourth phase, when we start getting new high prices, I'm so stupid. Look, I'm going to buy on the next pullback. I'm going to wait for a big correction. You may not get that correction opportunity. Things start moving real fast when it starts moving. Then, of course, the panic comes in. Oh my gosh, it's going higher. We just, it's $100,000. I got to get on this train before it's too late. Then at the top, thank God I bought. Now pump it. Now I'm a bull. Now it's time to go long. Now it's time to bet more. Now it's time to 100x long with my entire net worth, my kids' college fund, my remortgage my house, all that stuff. We're going to be billionaires. Then, of course, new paradigm of money moment comes, media hysteria, hystericalness comes. We see Coinbase, #1 app again, all that kind of stuff. And then markets correct, markets go down, things cool off. It's very, very problematic how fast things can move in the wrong direction. Then the denial starts coming. Oh, it's just a small correction. Everything's gonna be fine. Then it's, oh, just another consolidation before we pump. And then it's, oh man, crypto's a scam. I better panic sell. Got to get out now. I'm only going to take a 50, 60, 70, 80% loss. Then it's, oh, I'm so glad I sold. Time to get out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it repeats. Pretty crazy how market psychology plays out, but it kind of plays out like that time and time again, doesn't it? The question is, what do you do with that knowledge as an investor? Do you decide to be a victim of market cycles and market psychology, or do you decide to not? Do you want to buy low and sell high, or do you want to buy high and sell low? The choice is yours.